Welcome to The Tech Ranch, live and local here on Super Talk 1270. The latest gadgets, online security, websites and apps, social media, and so much more. How can technology help you? Let's find out. It's time for The Tech Ranch on Super Talk 1270.
From our studios in beautiful Mandan, North Dakota, along the mighty Missouri River, here is your guru of geek, Marlo Anderson.
Welcome to the Tech Ranch, everybody. Totally unprepared today, so I guess we're just gonna tell you right away that's gonna be how it is today. Woo! But I think we have some great people in the studio. Of course, Jim Walsh, our producer extraordinaire. Jim,
Hello.
How you doing?
Not too shabby.
Yeah, have a great 4th of July weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I noticed that you're not mentioning my weekend, but Chris VandeVenter is also in studio. He's been here many times. And Chris, how you doing today?
I'm doing okay.
Good. Have a good weekend too?
Yeah, I had a good one. We were down up here for the 4th, and it was 100 degrees on Saturday. And
wow.
No wind. And when you're in a grove of cottonwoods and the cotton is falling and it just builds up like snow, it turns to be a crummy day.
We were I had a family reunion on Saturday, and we were in a air-conditioned hall. And just to show you how the humidity was building up, the floor about 4 or 5 in the afternoon was actually wet from, because it was so humid, and I suppose the air conditioning was actually it was actually kind of an interesting phenomena, I thought. So
yeah, the blow-up air mattress in our tent, I learned about the expansion of air principle. You fill it up in the morning, gets to be 100 degrees, it's flat by the time you're going to bed.
Wow,
Yeah,
interesting.
The bed just kept contracting and expanding.
Really?
It's like losing air.
Yep.
Everything got cooled off, and it was...
So you had to fill it up once or twice, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, anyway, we really appreciate you being in the studio today.
No
We had some weather that has rolled through our area the last couple of days, and let's talk a little bit. I mean, you actually use your iPhone almost as an amateur professional photographer, and there's actually a term for it. What do you call it?
iPhoneography.
iPhoneography. And you have posted amazing photos over the last years from your iPhone, and in my circle anyway, probably the most the person that I would talk to, I guess, about an expert, I guess I would say, in this arena. And you've been capturing lightning.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, I think I have some cool cameras, right? And I have never, I've captured lightning before, but it's always been by accident. I'm just literally pushing the shutter button and occasionally capturing something. That you don't have to do that anymore, do you?
No, I mean, most folks that will do lightning photography, they'll either get some sort of a trigger that has a light sensor on it that'll help trigger their big SLR camera. But now you have the computing power of these phones, you can either use the high-speed photography mode in the iPhone 5S, or there's some apps that'll do the same things as sort of a lightning trigger would, a hardware trigger for a DSLR. And the app I've been using is called iLightning Cam.
Okay.
And if you go to themobilelens.com/lightning, it'll take you directly to the link in the iTunes App Store. And that's one I've been using. It's got a bit of a learning curve because you have to set it to make sure that you're not picking up headlights or extraneous light. Is it daytime? Is it nighttime? I've actually used it as a motion-sensitive camera during the day. You can capture pictures of squirrels and things like that as they walk in front of the camera. But last night was perfect. It was pitch black. I'm in a new development, no street lights. So just basically get the phone set up, paste it against my glass, and just hold it steady and just wait.
That was going to be my next question. You're using some type of tripod device or something, but no, you were actually inside your house and holding it steady against a pane of glass.
Yeah, that's one thing. You want to make sure it's steady.
Okay.
And either if you don't have a tripod, find something to wedge it up against. Get one of those edges of your phone just steady, both hands, and just kind of go to town and just hope you get what's what.
And you have amazing photographs from last night's storm.
Yeah. Themobilelens.com has my latest Instagram feed, and I've got a few that I've posted. I haven't posted a lot of them yet. One of them was actually picked up by KFYR Sky Spy this morning.
Okay,
and,
cool.
I've got a few more I'm going to be posting.
I'll post that feed as well on thetechranch.com so that we can maybe people who are interested in taking a look at it and seeing the quality of these photographs. It's just amazing. You have one there too that, what was it, about 10:40 last night or whatever? Explain that photograph.
Yeah, we were sitting there, my wife and I. My wife is a little bit sick in the head. She loves thunderstorms. And we don't have a yard in. And so you want rain and lightning? She says, yeah. And we got up, and we hadn't quite gone to bed yet. So we went out to stand by our porch and look at all the lightning. And I'm just have my phone up there. I'm not really paying attention. I'm just letting it do its thing. And suddenly a big clapper went, just to the west of us. I don't know, about a block and a half. And it just lit up the entire sky. And when I looked at the photo that was triggered, it's almost as if I took it in the middle of the day. It just lit up my entire neighborhood.
Well, and in fact, when you showed it to me and you said 10:40, I just assumed it was a daytime photograph.
Right.
Because it literally looks like it was shot in the daytime.
Yeah, and the colors are actually pretty cool. I mean, it looks like an overcast, stormy day.
Yes, exactly.
It didn't mess with the colors at all. So it
Yep.
just goes to show you the power of lightning. That's one of the reasons why every time you open the app, it says, warning, lightning will kill you. Please accept the terms of use.
Yeah, I guess that's probably not a bad terms of use there. That's clever. So on the app, so your app is what again?
It's called iLightning Cam.
iLightning Cam, and then on the Android, there's one called Lightning Camera. Have you ever used that one?
I have not. I haven't. My droid is an ancient Droid X. Actually one of the first droids, a Droid 1. So I don't know if it'll actually work. But,
okay.
And the camera is kind of wonky on it. But
gotcha.
Basically any kind of app that will sense a flash of light and trigger the shutter. And these are electronic shutters, so they're not a hard mechanical shutter where an actual physical window closes down. So it's just an electric signal. And lightning is so fast and the shutter's so slow that you're more than likely going to be able to catch it. If it triggers that first flash, you'll probably get the full bolt.
Okay.
Works best for cloud-to-ground lightning.
Okay. Well, we're coming up on the break here, but before we do that, why don't you tell everybody who you are and what you do?
Well, Chris VandeVenter. My day job, I work for Basin Electric, and in my spare time, I run BizMan apps here in town, do a little bit of IT support, teach a little bit of Apple, Macintosh type stuff at BSC, iPhoneography, and just generally secure my position as king of the internet on social media.
I am the king. So BizMan apps, you said?
BizManApps.com. Okay. I'm at DC MacNut on Twitter and the other interwebs.
Okay. So are you an app developer as well at BizMan apps, or?
I've done some app development on the side, but it's not something that's really driven me too much.
Okay.
Mainly app support and IT.
Gotcha. Okay. Very, very cool. And you said your daytime job is?
Work at Basin Electric.
Okay. What do you do for Basin?
I work in their communications, government relations department.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Wow. Busy guy.
Yes.
And you actually teach classes on iPhoneography?
I have taught them through the continuing education program at Bismarck State.
Okay.
Getting ready to set up another round of classes for the fall.
Okay.
And hopefully people will sign up. We've had to cancel a few with lack of interest, but hopefully more and more people decide that your iPhone's always with you. So,
yes.
And it can be done to make professional photos.
Yep. And I will say I'm actually amazed at how good the quality of photos are that are on our phones nowadays. It continues to get better and better because our sensors are getting better and better that are on those. So after the break, everybody, Chris and I will continue our conversation, probably get into some other cool apps as well. And we'll be talking about websites called View Mundo, Font Daddy, and Engineer the Dots. So come on back.
Right now, 72.
Get the app called Radio Pup for your iPhone and take us everywhere you go. Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek at Facebook.com/The Tech Ranch or Twitter at Guru of Geek or TheTechRanch.com. Here again is your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And yes, we're talking about how to take photos of lightning with your iPhone, Android. Chris VandeVenter is in studio, and he has taken some amazing photographs of lightning. Now, during the break here, we were just talking about lenses for your phone. So, do you have a series of micro lenses, or there's a package that you have, or how does that work?
You can. There's a number of third-party lenses. Some are really cheap, plastic lenses with magnets that'll just attach to a ring you put around your lens. Those work out pretty well. Some of the more popular ones is Holoclip. makes one that is just sits onto the corner and has a fisheye, macro, and a wide-angle lens. They've got a telephoto lens available. It goes up to 2x, which really is just making your focal length that much longer. It's not like a traditional zoom lens. It just makes it a little closer. I do have a 12x telescopic telephoto lens.
For your iPhone?
For my iPhone. And I really reserve that for daytime shots when I'm at the zoo and the tigers are on the other side of the exhibit. And that really requires a tripod. I tried using it to take some turkey vultures that were roosting in trees near my campground. And I broke my old one, so I got a new one. And this one is a little bit too fuzzy. It's a bit overkill so if you're really going to use that, definitely use an SLR. But I like to try to test the limits of my phone as much as I can.
So is this an adjustable lens that you put on or caps over the top, or is it just automatically 12x?
Well, basically what it is what people have done is they've adapted binoculars. So, binocular just helps zoom that in for you. And you just zoom it into focus. What they've done is they've taken either monoculars, single telescopes, land telescopes, or binoculars, and added a threaded piece to the end. And that goes onto a case that you can then screw onto your phone. So it's taking existing technology, telescopes, and adapting it to your phone.
So the case that you have to purchase, and I mean, this is a protective case as well, or is it just something that
It's generally a polycarbonate case, and when you order the 12X or even the 16X that they have, it'll come with a case, it'll come with a tripod, it comes with cleaning cloths and whatnot. Good construction, but again, it's a bit overkill. For most day-to-day use, I recommend people use a 2x lens because then that allows them to take more portrait photography. If you get too close to the face of somebody with the existing iPhone, it kind of makes their face too broad because of the angle of the lens and the opening. So by having a 2x allows you to step back a little bit. You can still get some nice flattering portraiture that way. But if you have something that's absolutely too far away, 2x gets you a little bit better, 4, 5. The 12 is a bit overkill, but like I said, I use that mainly when I'm at the zoo.
Sure. So what about filters? Is there a series of filters as well, or do you prefer to do that, in post-production, using some type of software?
I've talked to a few iPhonographers. Jack Hollingsworth out of Austin. He's one. I took a class in Cape Cod with him. This is 2 summers ago now. And I have developed my own system of using optical filters. I have little thread-on adapters for old range cameras that have the small filters that you could buy back in the film days. And I'll put them on, and mainly it's use a neutral density filter to kind of bring down the glare of the sun, deal with reflections off of water. You can do a lot of that in post-production using the digital filters. Sometimes I like to use the actual filter. It gives me interesting lens flares or other in-camera techniques. It's a bit wonky the way I've got it set up. You can either hold a plastic filter in front of it, saran wrap, what have you.
Sure.
The old Vaseline trick.
Sure.
To blur things out. But yeah, you could do that. A lot of folks will just do it in post-production, right on the phone. I tend to be a minimalist. I do some artistic stuff with the Painterly apps where I can make it look like a painting. But by and large, I'm just adjusting for saturation and color and contrast.
Well, of course, the more that you can do while you're taking the photograph, the better your photograph is probably going to end up. So interesting. So what kind of cost range for these filters? And I know we're kind of going, I don't know if I want to say off topic here, but this is actually very fascinating. And I think a lot of people, if they knew these things were available, would probably pick some of these up, because it just improves the overall photographic experience and videography experience, I would imagine as well. So
you can get some of the Koken filters, the plastic square Koken filters. You can get them for $5, $6, $7.
And these are the ones that have the little magnetic piece on it that just...
No, these. I'm talking about the optical filters. The square ones for making color changes.
Oh, I gotcha. Okay.
The lenses will run you, if you go through one of the main websites, Photo Jojo, you can get a range of lenses for like $40, $50.
Okay.
You can get some of the cheaper Chinese knockoffs for $4, $5, sometimes even $2, but you get what you pay for.
Sure.
through eBay. I go through eBay a lot for some of this stuff.
So $40-$50 will give you a nice selection of lenses.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Generally, it's either a $30 to $45 range will get you a fisheye lens, a wide-angle lens, and a macro lens, and sometimes a 2X lens.
What about like the case that you need then too?
The case is, if it's a magnetic lens, it doesn't come with the case. If it's threaded, the case usually comes with.
Okay. And usually even the threaded ones or with the case are usually in that same price range, or are you going to pay a little bit more for that?
Yeah, I think if you want to get to the bigger threaded lenses, you're looking at a little bit like $10 or $15 or more.
So still under $100.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can really go on the high end. Schneider Optics makes a kit called the iPro lens, and their base kit with the case is $200.
Okay.
And then they sell a telephoto lens for $99. So you're looking at $300-$400 for their system, but you're guaranteed great optics and a sturdy material. So you get a quality package. And if you're really serious about using that kind of technology on here with your phone, that's worth it. The Olo Clip is $80, $99 for their new telephoto version. It works great. The only downside with some of these is you have to take the case off. So if you have an OtterBox on your iPhone or your Android, you're going to have to remove that to use a lot of these. Right. Or it's a proprietary case. And so you're constantly taking cases in and off. It's like if you're out in the field, you don't really want to be changing lenses on your big DSLR while you're in the field. So it's really find something that works for you. If you have an everyday case, make sure it's one that's goods protection, but it's easy on, easy off. And then you can...
It's interesting that, and maybe somebody has, but a case that is something like an OtterBox, but allows you to adapt lenses to it as well. And I would imagine that somebody's thought of that. But.
Yeah, there's a company they call Diff Case. They have one that has some tripod threads integrated with it, and they sell a bayonet system. And so you can buy the lenses from them, and it just twists on.
Cool.
And they sell adapters for the iPro kit, too.
Okay.
So you can use that as your everyday case. I have one. The little bump on it that's for the tripod is a little bit too much in my way for everyday use.
Yep.
But when I'm not going out shooting, that's what I pop on.
Sure.
And then I have the ability to twist on my lenses if I need to.
Okay. And I'm really going to change direction here now. International Space Station. Mm-hmm. Are you familiar?
I am.
Okay. You ever follow it at all? Or?
I've seen some of there's that one Canadian astronomer who's up there. He takes pictures quite a bit.
Okay.
And does YouTube videos.
Okay.
So I follow a lot of what that they do.
Cool.
I like looking at those photos.
There's a website, viewmundo.com. It's viewmundo.com. And they have an ISS screensaver, so it's the International Space Station screensaver. Not that we need screensavers for our computers so much anymore, but this is actually kind of cool because it's an actual live camera stream that's your screensaver from the space station. So, and it also has a tracker that shows you exactly where the space station is at any given time. It's a 99-cent screensaver. I ran across this over the weekend. And I thought it was actually kind of clever, and I love looking at streams from outer space coming back, looking at the Earth, and I just thought this was very, very clever how they have created this screensaver from that feed that's coming into. I would imagine the feed is probably available to anybody, but not as a screensaver, so you can just have it pop up and take a look at the Earth from that. So yeah, go to viewmundo.com. Again, that's viewmundo.com. And it just has a very, very cool screensaver. So, and let's see what else. Oh, Font Daddy. That's another one that, I'm picking on some websites here. We're going to get back to the photography stuff in a little bit, I'm betting. But Font Daddy, I would imagine that you do some desktop publishing occasionally, Chris. Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is actually, there's all kinds of fonts all over the website or all over the internet. But at Font Daddy, they actually have free fonts. So you don't have to go and buy a package of fonts or whatever. In fact, people can design fonts, put them up on Font Daddy, and then you just download them for free. So I just think that's actually a very, very cool deal. And they have hundreds and hundreds of different types of fonts for all your stuff. And I use Font Daddy quite a bit. And I was just looking at one of my favorite ones is actually 01000, which is kind of a fuzzy clock ticker type of deal. I don't know if you're on there,
I'm
Chris,
seeing
but
it.
yeah.
I'm actually quite fond of the Lego one.
That's pretty cool too.
I
Yeah.
don't know, but my son's really into Legos right now.
Oh, I just see, they got a Mountain Dew one as well.
Yes.
So, yeah. So, if you're a font designer and want to get your work out there a little bit, you can go to fontaddy.com and upload your stuff. Or if you need a unique font for a project or something, that's also a great place to go. Yeah. So, I don't mean to be, talking to you a lot about these lenses, but I am just literally fascinated by this opportunity. And I'm actually going to start looking at, do you know if there's packages for droids?
There's so many different styles of droids that some of the specific ones that are designed around a case setup, you'd have to figure out, okay, I need a Samsung Galaxy S3 kit.
So you're only going to find the ones that are probably the more popular droids. Yeah.
So, but these magnetic lenses, they're universal. And what they are is it's a small glass or plastic lens inside of a assembly, has a magnet on the bottom. They send you an adhesive metal disc. You just put that on the back of your phone, cover your lens aperture for the phone, and magnetically just snap that on. So those are the most universal ones for anybody that wants to use any kind of phone.
And you've used these before and they're pretty good?
Yep.
Okay.
Just don't hang your phone out the window while you're on a train.
Okay. All right, everybody, after the break, we will continue our conversation on using your phone to take photos. So come on back.
Right now, 72.
You're never more than a few minutes from a weather update here on Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And we want to thank everybody who listens to the Tech Ranch across the country and around the world on the Blueberry Network, on Tuned In, on the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. And, of course, on our own app for Town Square Media, the Radio Pup app. So, so all kinds of ways that you can catch the Tech Ranch live or afterwards in podcast form. In studio, Chris VandeVenter. Chris is my iPhone iPhoneographer. Oh my goodness, I need to work on that a little bit more. iPhoneographer, but it's a great. So I guess photographer. Just put iPhone in front of that, and you got it. Yeah, so very good. We've been talking a lot about how to take better photos with your smartphone. Of course, he's an iPhone user. I'm a Droid user, and probably the biggest difference there is that because iPhones are the case is universal. If you have an iPhone 4, iPhone 5, whatever, they're all the same. Like you said before the break, Androids, there's hundreds of different models, and more difficult for manufacturers to come up with unique case solutions, whatever, to attach lenses to them. Mm-hmm. But as you said, there's magnetic lenses that we can use for our droids as well. So
there's magnetic lenses, there's universal tripod adapters, there are clip-on lenses you can get. One of the best places to go for Android lenses, if you're interested in using your Android as a photography device, is usbfever.com.
Okay.
I think they're based out of Taiwan. They have a slew of lenses. You just go to their photography page. You can look for various lenses. They have, I think, one that's for maybe look at they have specific ones for the iPhone, but then they have universal magnet, universal clip-ons that are some of the best ones. And
okay.
You can find different places on the web. We'll show it. This is how you attach one of these to a Nokia. This is how you attach one to a Samsung. Here's how you attach this to an HTC. Because the lenses are in different spots.
On all these droids, yep.
And so that also plays into what kind of case you have. And if you have a case on there, sometimes you can put it on the case on the outside. Sometimes you have to put it on the naked phone, so you have to be taking it in and out of your case. I have 5 different iPhone cases for different sets. I have my threaded lens set. I have my everyday photography set. I've got my walk-around case. So it gets to be a bit over I would say cumbersome.
Yes. Now I noticed, now I have an HTC One, and I'm just showing it to you right now here. One of the things that I've always noticed with the lens is that when I pick it up, it's like I always gravitate, just like I'm showing you here. I put my thumb over the lens when I pick up my phone, and even when I have my case on it, I do the same thing. It's like it's a natural place to when you pick up your phone. So I'm always dealing with thumbprints and everything else on my phone. And I've watched other people do exactly the same thing. I don't know if there's I don't want to call it a design flaw, but it's one of those things I think a person has to be, if you use your phone a lot, have to be aware that you're not always picking your phone up by your lens and scratching it or putting finger. And I'm looking at mine right now. It's full of stuff here.
Right.
So
one thing that I've constantly told folks is, with apologies to Beyonce, if you like it, put a case on it. And with the new sapphire lenses for the iPhones, they're a little bit more scratch resistant, but the old iPhone was a plastic cover. And those would get scratched up, and you can't really fix that.
right.
And you definitely want to have a case on your phone because you're going to set it down, lens side down, and that's going to scratch up your phone.
Just like I'm doing right now with mine. Yep.
Fingerprints are easy to deal with. You either get a high-quality optical cloth from your optician, get a microfiber cloth. You don't want to do it dry. You don't want to get a lot of liquid there either. I tend to just use regular ammonia-free glass cleaner and spray it a little bit on my optical grade paper cloth and use that. What really works in a pinch, and I learned this from Brian Matthews here in town, go to the smoke shop and get yourself a bunch of Zag cigarette paper rolls.
Okay.
It's the roll your own papers. They are pure paper. There's no wood fiber or anything else in there. It will not scratch. They work great for your cameras. They work great for your iPhone lens. And then you just crumple them up and then they're gone. They're very thin, cheap, and they work great in a pinch to get those fingerprints off.
Interesting. So what about like eyeglass? I always buy those eyeglass packets to clean my glasses with. Will those work pretty well on there as well?
I buy paper cleaning cloths for my eyeglasses, and I have just it has to be ammonia-free lens cleaner. I'll use that. They make a cell phone or tablet grade cleaner. I think it's called Eye Clear, or you can get some specialized cleaners for your front and your back of your phone. Those will work. Any microfiber cloth. Microfiber cloths, though, after a while, they tend to get dirty. And so there might be a little bit of residue or oil, and it might cause more problems over time. So I err more on the disposable side.
Okay.
Just anything that's like a lens cleaner. But the key is they're free of wood fibers. So don't use a paper towel. Don't use a Kleenex. These are lint-free. They don't have any wood. They're not going to scratch up your lens surfaces. And these lenses are tiny, and the openings are so small that any scratch is going to be noticeable.
Yes, that's correct. It's not like it's on an SLR where, yeah, you're absolutely right about that. I won't say you can cover the scratch up, but it's not as significant because it's such a small part of what you're shooting. When your whole photo is being taken by, I don't even know the size of that, maybe a half a centimeter across or whatever. There's not a lot of room there, and of course you put a scratch across that. He's checking different sizes here. Yours is actually not as large as the one on the HTC, is it?
No, I think that the HTC has a bigger lens cover for it. The actual camera size, the aperture opening is probably about the same size.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yes.
And with these HTC ones, they have a bigger pixel. They have a bigger sensor in them, so the lens is going to bump out a little bit. There's going to be so that fits a better focal length, and they can put a larger sensor in there, so it's taking higher quality pictures.
That's actually one of the reasons I bought this phone, because not that I am the world's greatest photographer with my Android, but I do like taking good quality photos too, and that was probably one of the biggest selling points to me with that. But
yeah, one of the things that they talk about sensor size and photo quality. These sensors have gotten so good. I think that over time you're going to see more and more of these smaller sensors go into consumer cameras. Because these sensors are they're just slightly smaller than what's in your existing point and shoots.
Okay.
And, HTC One, Nokia, they talk about these 36, 40 megapixel photos that they can take. But what they're actually doing is it's all about light gathering. And they have a bigger sensor, so it gathers more light, but it's not taking a 40 megapixel picture. It's actually taking a 4 megapixel picture.
Okay.
But it's using more pixels, more buckets as you were, to capture that light and combine it into one.
It's like a digital interpolation type of deal.
Right.
So are they taking? I seen an instance at CES this year where Canon was shooting some incredible amount of photos in a second, 5,000 photos, whatever, and they were showing this that even at night they would take these photos, and they would be spectacular because they were combining all this data from 5,000 photos into one. Mm-hmm. And the photographs were absolutely amazing.
There are apps that'll do that on your phones. The great thing about having a bigger sensor is if you have starting with a 40 megapixel sensor, there is no optical zoom on these phones because you just can't fit that mechanism in there.
Right.
But let's say on an iPhone, if I want to zoom in 2 times, I'm now taking, instead of an 8 megapixel photo, I'm taking a 4 megapixel photo.
Okay.
I go much beyond twice. I'm starting to see blurriness, sharpness degrades. But if I have a 40 megapixel, like on some of the Nokias, I can zoom in quite a ways, but I'm still having the same number of pixels because it's shooting a 4 or 5 megapixel photo.
Right.
So there's some misnomer that, I'm taking such a bigger photo, I have more pixels, the picture has to be great. No, it's the person behind the camera that really makes it great.
Yep.
And it's more technology, and it allows you to get more data. But by and large, for just your point and shoot, day-to-day stuff, I'm going to take a picture of this or that, you're really not getting much better than an iPhone. Really, I have no qualms against any kind of camera phone, whether it be Android, HTC, or iPhone. I'm really excited about what's coming out in the fall with the upgraded iPhone operating system. They're going to give photographers and app developers more access to the manual controls of the lens. So you can start setting your shutter speeds and your manual focus and white balance. Stuff that app developers have had to work around and they can do themselves, but now they'll have more direct control to the underlying hard firmware.
Gotcha.
So they can manipulate with their apps. And it sounds like it's going to be another leap. Maybe not bigger, more pixels, but more manual control of your photos, which I think is a lot. What are those of us in the amateur professional iPhoneography realm have been looking for?
That's very, very cool. Now, what about video? I mean, when you put a lens on your iPhone or your Droid for photography or for photographs, is that going to change how you look and how you shoot video? No,
not really, because when you're shooting a photo versus video on a lot of these, the video sensor is a little cropped in. So particularly on a wide-angle lens, when I'm taking a photo, it's distorted. It has a little bit of that barrel effect, and you can adjust that in post-process. But when I'm shooting video on a wide angle, it actually crops in a little bit, so it hides some of those corner aberrations, the vignetting, and it actually does a pretty good job.
Okay.
But there's really no difference. It's just when you're shooting video, you're using less of the image sensor to take the video.
Okay. So that spider you were showing me a little bit ago, you're using a macro lens on that and shooting video with that. Absolutely amazing. I thought it was very, very cool. Yep. So, all right, everybody, after the break, we'll continue our talk with Chris on shooting better photos. We're also going to be talking a little bit about if you wanted to get a job at Google or Apple and you're an engineering student, how do you go about doing that? So we have a website that you can go to. Come on back.
Right now, 72.
Our own radio station. Not Fargo, not the Twin Cities. Proud to be Bismarck and Mandan's own Super Talk 1270.
Follow the Guru of Geek everywhere he goes. Post your comments or questions at thetechranch.com. Once again, your Guru of Geek, Marlo Anderson.
And in studio, Chris VandeVenter, and we're talking a lot about taking photos with your smart devices. I did want to get one more website in before we get back to that discussion. I talk to people occasionally who are interested maybe getting a job at Google or Apple or whatever, not really knowing the process or maybe what they have to learn to get to that. And there's a website that's out now called engineerthedots.com, and that's engineer, THEDOTS.com, engineerthedots.com. And kind of a blog, I guess you could say, but there's a lot of discussion about what you might need to know to get those type of jobs and the type of schooling that you need to go through, and maybe even some contexts that are there when you're looking for that job. So basically you can read interviews and journeys of established engineers at those type of companies and learn what you can do as a student to work there. You can also learn how to get published, covering the ideas that you may have into patents and what good engineers do on a daily basis. So check it out. It was just kind of fun taking a look at it over the weekend too. I did have a few minutes here and there that I just thought I'd just let you know about that engineerthedots.com. So check that out. Chris was just talking over the break too about using remote to take photos. So talk a little bit about
well,
that.
We mentioned you mentioned the spider that I had taken a picture of over the weekend, and while we were camping, a little jumping spider decided to set up shop on one of our towels that was drying, and I have a mild arachnophobia, but as long as I know where they are and they're not
Just mild.
mild, I don't. It used to just freak me out every time I saw a spider, but now as long as I know where they are and I can see them, that's fine. It's when I can't see them and they're crawling on me, that's when I have problems. But this little guy was there, smaller than a dime. I mean, even smaller than that. And I was taking some shots of him. I broke out my macro lens, and I think I made him mad. I'm down there with my phone, getting up in his face, shooting pictures. He's trying to get away from me. And at one point, I start shooting some video, and you could tell he's getting mad. His pedipalps are just waving, and he's got his front legs up in the air like he's getting ready to. And while I'm videoing, I'm looking at my phone screen, and all of a sudden he disappears, and you actually hear him jump on my phone, and then you hear me screaming, and then I blow him off my phone, and then I'm done. But it got me thinking. It's like, okay, my hands were right there, but I wasn't right there. So it was almost like I still had that visceral reaction that the spider is going to eat me.
Sure.
And the way it's shot is actually interesting. It's almost as if he knocked me over just because of the size of it. But remote shutters are something that's useful for these things. You don't want to bump your phone if you're taking a macro shot. Let's say you've got something delicate that you're taking a picture of. Maybe you are a hobbyist and you're taking pictures of jewelry that you're going to put up on eBay. You want something stable. And one of the things that not a lot of people know is the headphones that come with your iPhone or even your Android, the volume button on that will trigger the shutter.
Right.
And what they now have is you can get Bluetooth as well. So most Bluetooth headsets that actually control the volume on the phone, I'm not talking about headsets that control the volume on the headset itself. It has to actually control the phone's volume. You can use those up to 30, 40 feet. That's a little bit of a crapshoot. You don't want to be going out buying a bunch of Bluetooth headsets anymore to try that out. So companies have come out. There's iShutter is one that is it's basically a Bluetooth remote, and it just talks to your phone. A lot of companies, Belkin, they have similar ones, but it only talks with their camera app. So what you really want to look for is something that is universal, something that allows you to shoot with any app that you want that supports the volume shutter snap. And even if you're not using a remote shutter, use your volume button, take a picture. You get less jarring movement if you're trying to tap a small button. Works great for selfies.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So what about audio? Like when you're shooting a video with your phone, audio isn't that great usually.
No, and I have to see if I can steal my dad's. He has a audio boom mic for his Canon.
Okay.
And it's just a standard 3.5 millimeter plug, and you can get microphones that'll plug into the jack, and it'll actually use that audio to record. So people have really gone all out. They say, oh, this is an area we want to market to, so we'll come out with a boom mic for the iPhone to pick up better audio. I've noticed that the iPhone 5S has better audio quality than the 4. Probably placement of the microphones. There's 2 microphones on the 5S compared to 1 on the 4. Haven't really noticed too much trouble. But yeah, you definitely want, if you're looking to shoot like professional, people that are doing movies on their iPhones, you're going to want some sort of way to get that audio in.
Right.
And
well, actually, with one of our iPhones, we have actually an iPad, I guess it is. We have a couple of Bluetooth lavalier mics, and they just clip right on, and about 30, 40 feet. And as you're talking into them, just like I'm talking into a microphone now, I mean, a person can walk around, talk, and record. And I use those a lot if I'm recording somebody in a conference or something along those lines. I'll ask to see if they'll wear the lav mic, and it's almost unnoticeable, on them. And the audio is dramatically better. I won't say it's fantastic like a boom mic might be or whatever, but it certainly is an enhancement over just picking it up over the microphone that you have on
particularly for interviews. Boom mic is more of picking up ambient noise.
Right.
If you're taking more landscape video, you want to get that ambient noise going on. And it also provides some wind cancellation as well.
Okay. So yeah, there are options out there, and I have a feeling that we're going to see more and more Bluetooth type of wearable mics, lavaliers or whatever you want to call them. I suppose a person, I'm just kind of thinking out loud, but like a Bluetooth headset, whatever, could maybe utilize those for video recording as well. I mean, put that Bluetooth on somebody else, maybe cleverly hide the headphone part of it, and still pick up better audio that way. I mean, there's some creative things that you can do with those type of things that you have already.
Yeah, with Bluetooth 4.0 that's coming out, the low-powered Bluetooth, there's more and more data that Apple is allowing to go across that barrier.
Okay.
So you can get more audio and other connections. And, it's low power, so you're not going to drain the battery.
Sure. So are there any other attachments maybe for, photographers and using or people who want to take better photographs with their iPhone or smart devices?
I recommend a tripod.
Okay.
Any good quality tripod, a mini tripod, a Gorilla Pod that Joby makes, those are great. You can hang it upside down. You can attach it to a tree. Those are good. You set a timer, then you can get into the photo. If anything, there's a lot of better anti-shake reduction with some of these phones, but anytime you can keep that phone steady is good. So you can the question is how do I mount my phone onto a tripod? There's no quarter 20 thread on the bottom of it. So that's where you can either get a diff case that has the threads built in. On Amazon, you can just search for universal tripod mount, and they'll send you for $10. It's just a spring clamp that has the quarter 20 in the bottom, and it just extends to whatever size of your phone. They've made one called the Glyph, is specific to the iPhone 5, and it just slides in. I have one called the Xterra that I picked up. It's an 8-in-1 tripod mount. Spot for your magnetic lenses, has a built-in stylus. It has tripod threads. It can be used as a stand, and the really reason I bought it is it has a bottle opener on it. So that's the added benefit.
Very nice. So how about apps? Are there any, do you use the standard iPhone camera app that comes with it, or do you find other apps to shoot photos with?
By and large, I use the built-in camera app.
Okay.
That's when the mood strikes and I want to take a picture. It's right there from my lock screen. I can access it and I can take a picture. And that works great. If I'm really serious and I'm already on the phone and I'm out taking pictures, I actually use something called Pure Shot, and it takes a TIFF image. So it doesn't go through any JPEG compression.
Okay.
So if anybody out there is interested, knows about how photos are processed when you compress an image or take an image into a JPEG, the computer says, well, these colors are pretty much the same, so it throws out data. Just like it says, well, we don't need this information. So you lose some quality.
Right.
Not a lot, but after a while, you keep doing that, you're going to see some degradation.
Yep.
The TIFF image, you're talking about a 15 megabyte file compared to maybe 3 or 4 megabytes for the JPEG, but you are dealing with an uncompressed image. So it's more data to work with. You see better colors, and it's overkill sometimes, but I like to shoot with those. It's a little bit slower, but if I'm out taking specific photos that I know I want to capture this or this, I'll use that. And then my other go-to app is Camera Plus.
Okay.
It's a great replacement camera app for 99 cents.
And what kind of other options are in Camera Plus?
Camera Plus has a burst mode. It has 30-second timers. It has white balance control. You can independently set your focus and your exposure. So if somebody's in shadow, you can actually move it around. Because that's the key thing that people don't know about is focus, tap to focus, and also make sure your exposure's right. So your people aren't in shadow or in silhouette.
Chris, this has been great today. I really appreciate you being on the Tech Ranch. I've actually learned a lot myself. I'm very excited about getting out there with my phone now and taking some phones. Is there a term for Android users as well, or
they've come up with Androidography?
Okay. Oh, it's clever, isn't it?
Yes. We're nothing if not genius.
That's right. All right, everybody, have a great week.